Hey guys, this is Carl Brown for guitarlessons365.com. Got a super cool song for you today. We're going to learn how to play Skinny Love by Bon Iver. So this one uses a quite unique tuning. So I'm going to run through that for you real quick. And those notes will be written in the description as well if I go too fast for you. We're in an open C tuning. So he's also using kind of a vintage resonator guitar, which this isn't. So this is just a standard acoustic. So I'm assuming most of you guys don't have resonators. So it sounds great on this as well. So let's just, we're going to put it in the same tuning though. So it's an open C tuning. So what is that? We're going to start on the 6th string. You got to tune your E string down to a C. You got to tune it down a major third to a C. And then when you get to the A string, you want to tune that down to a G. The good thing about this tuning, only a couple of the strings are actually tuned up, so it's not that tough on your guitar since we're mostly D tuning. So a low C, and then a G. Tune the A down a whole step to G. Now here's one of the strings you got to tune up. You got to take the D and tune it up a whole step to E. So we have this. Then we get to leave the G string as it is. Yay. All right, then we get to the B string, and you're going to tune that one up as well, but just a half step to C. So from B up to C, and then the high E string, you're going to tune down to C, just like we did the low E string. And those will be unison strings, which he takes advantage of quite a bit with his melody lines. So when you get all that together and strum the strings, it's a C major chord, a really big, cool sounding C major chord. That's why they call it open C tuning. All right, now he takes full advantage of this tuning in this song. And I'm gonna first show you the intro that I just did. But most of the song is based around 2 riffs. And then he does variations at the endings of each one usually. So I'm going to work you through those variations as they happen in the song. So the intro uses the same progression that he does in the verse. But he adds some fancy stuff to it. So the beginning of the intro that I just played. All right, so we're going to be playing, he kind of starts with a quick little up strum, well, a couple of strums, like an up down on just the open strings. And then he gets to the first chord, which is this, the 2nd fret on the A string and the 2nd fret on the G. Now, for a lot of the chords, he doesn't let the open low C string, the 6th string, ring. So he's kind of muting that string with his thumb. So you have this, you can strum all the other strings, so they're all open except for the 2nd fret on the A and the G. I'll talk about the rhythm pattern in a second. And then we're going to take that and just move it up to the 5th fret. Now you just do all open strings, and now you can incorporate the low E string or low C string in there. All right, so far we have this. Now, the strumming pattern is pretty easy. For most of the song, he does a feel of down, down, up. So we have this. So just practice that on just one chord, or just open strings. Up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. See, I'm not stopping the movement of my arm, even if I'm not hitting the strings. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So after you did that pattern on the open strings, then you start with 2 downstrokes, and then you have that first little melody line, which is. Now here's where he takes advantage of those unison strings. Since they're both strings of the same note, he just plays a little bar across the 2nd fret of the B and the high E string. So he plays those together and then does the same thing at the 4th fret with his ring finger. Then back down to the 2s, then the open. Now you do that with the low open strings underneath it. Now, by the way, I will mention, he doesn't use a pick like I'm strumming. He kind of uses like, it looks like he's using a pick, but he's actually just brushing it mostly with just his index finger. So he, like this. But I'm going to use a pick because I don't want to destroy my index fingernail. All right, so we have that so far. We start over again. And then we come out of that last. After that, down, down, up. We do the second melody line, which is just, you're doing those, what they call double stops. You're holding 2 strings at a time. 7's on the B and this high E, or obviously it's the C and the high C now. But so we have 7th fret on the B and the first and second string. Let's just say that 7, then 9 on those 2 strings, back to 7, then open, and then back to what we did before. 2, 4, 2, 0. All right, then you continue with the same part again. We have a different melodic ending, looks like this. This takes us into the next chord. Now that little ending, that is the 5th fret there on the B and the high, I'm just going to say the B and the high E, even though they're not tuned to that. It's a little bit easier to understand. So you just strum those down, up, gonna up, down, a few times. And then you play the 4th fret on the B string by itself. And that sets the rest of the fingers up so they can slide into the next chord. What that chord is, you're going to slide into the 7th fret of the A string, then play the 7th fret on the D string underneath it, and the 7th fret on the G. And the top 2 strings are open. You're still muting that low string. So we have this. Then we basically start over with this 2nd fret here. And in the intro here, he holds this a little longer. Comes up and grabs just 2 downstrokes here on the 5th fret version of that chord, and then down to the open. All right, so that's the whole intro with the little melodic fills. Now we get to the first verse, and it uses those same chords without all that melodic stuff going on. So let me play the first verse for you, right as soon as the vocals come in. All right, so there is a kind of a little melodic thing at the very end of that. But it's the same chords we started with, the same strumming pattern. 2, 5, and then the open. And remember, when you get to the open, you can lightly incorporate the 6th string in there. So you basically do that 3 times. And then we go to that same chord, the 7th fret there across the A, D, and the G strings. Basically doing that strumming pattern twice on it. Then we go back down to the 2nd fret version of the A and the G that we did before. The strumming pattern done there twice. And now we're going to introduce a little bit different chord. It's the same thing that we did at the 7th fret earlier, where you're going to also have the note down on the 5th fret of the D string. So it's the same chord that we did here, but now just at the 5th fret. And you can do the strumming pattern there 3 times. And then we have a series of pull-offs. So those pull-offs, after you've done that strumming pattern 3 times, is pulling off 3 to 0 on the D string, then 7 to 0 on the A string, and then 5 to 0. And then you strum all the strings, and it takes you back open, and then you take it back to the beginning. All right, so from there, we just start over with verse 2, which is very similar. It just has a slightly different ending. All right, so one little variation you'll hear him do, especially live, he does it more. After he does those first chords, he hammers on the second fret there on the high E string, and then release it. So you'll hear him do that a little bit. You can do it if you want. It's just kind of throw it in randomly. But he goes through the same parts through this chord, and then when he goes back down to start, after this chord, he just strums that chord with 2 downstrokes and stops, and that's the transition into the chorus. The chorus now uses some different chords. It's really cool sounding too. It sounds like this. All right, so that is the 9th fret here on the A string, 8th on the D, 7th on the G, while letting the top high E strings ring. The next chord is the 4th fret on the A, 3rd on the D, and 4th on the G. Still got those strings ringing open. And then take that shape just down 2 frets. So those are the 3 chords of the chorus, and they're just repeated 4 times. Sometimes it sounds cool when you get to that top chord, add the low E in there, but it's up to you. When he gets to the last chord, the 4th time through, he just kind of starts strumming it. He just continues strumming that one chord, but does it a lot lighter. And that transitions us just by lifting up your index finger back to the main riff of the verse. All right, so that was a little bit different. The same chords, the same thing's done 3 times, but right before you jump to that 7th fret chord, you're gonna do that little fill that we did in the intro, where we had the 5s on the B and the high E, and then the 4th fret there on the B string, then sliding into those 7s. So it happens, only times you did a little melody there is right before the 7s. And then we have this, which is the 2nd fret down here chord with the picking pattern done twice, just like we did before. And then now moving up once again to this 5th fret chord that has all 3 strings held down of the A, D, and the G. And you can do a strumming pattern 3 times there. And then it just kind of stops and goes back to the chorus, the exact same chorus that we did before. And the fourth time at the very end of that chorus, you're just gonna hit that chord and just let it ring a little bit, and then start kind of messing around with it a little bit, bringing it back up, just really make it dynamic. He likes to bring it in and out. And then he uses that to jump back into that chorus riff with that. That little kind of tag on the chorus at the end there. And he ends up playing the chorus riff twice there. And he just kind of strums that. And then that takes us to the outro section, where he does some vocals over this as well, but he has a lot of melodic content going on in the guitar parts as well. It's very similar to the intro. It sounds like this. All right, so there's a lot of cool dynamics in the song. So you know pretty much how this melodic content works. We do the riff once. And then we start the melody on top, which is just a 2-4-2-0 done twice. So it's obviously on both the high E and the B string. And you let the other strings ring underneath it. Start the riff over again. Then we go to the second melody line we did in the intro, which is 7-9-7-0, then 2-4-2-0. Then the same melody before, right before the sevens. Picking pattern twice there on the sevens. And the very end of the song, we're back down to that second fret chord, the second fret on the A and the G, and we're going to do the picking pattern, strumming pattern twice there. I'm sorry, you actually play it once, and then you just hit 2 downstrokes on it once, and then move it up to the 5th fret, 2 downstrokes there. So we have this. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's really eye-opening when you put a guitar in an open tuning like this, the different musical sounds that you can get out of it. It's really fun to play with. So actually, after you learn the song, maybe try coming up with your own stuff in this tuning, and maybe it'll inspire you to come up with some a massive hit song as well, just like Justin Vernon did. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.